Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see next part of High Court. So in this lecture, we are going to see jurisdiction and powers of High Court. So if you're talking about this jurisdiction, so there is small difference between jurisdiction of Supreme Court and High Court that you should remember for sure. So if you're talking about jurisdiction regarding this High Court, we have original jurisdiction, we have appellate jurisdiction, we have writ jurisdiction, we have supervisory jurisdiction, and if you see powers of High Court, we have court of record, right? But one jurisdiction which is missing in High Court here is advisory jurisdiction. So this advisory jurisdiction which is exclusive power under this Supreme Court but not High Court. So this advisory jurisdiction mainly comes under Article 143 of our Indian Constitution. So there is no advisory jurisdiction regarding this High Court. So this is one important small difference that you should remember, and this will be very important regarding both mains and also even prelims. So almost if you say jurisdiction, that is original jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction, writ jurisdiction, which is almost equal, but there are some difference in this writ jurisdiction that you will come to know. Okay. So now let us see what is written in Lakshmikant regarding this jurisdiction and powers of High Court. So as we know, in state judiciary, this High Court, it is higher court of appeal, and it is also protector of fundamental rights of citizen, and it is also vested with power to interpret with constitution also. Okay, so it have supervisory role, it have consultative roles, and also it have power to interpret constitution also. Okay, so if you are talking about detailed provisions regarding this High Court, so our constitution did not contain detailed provisions with regard to jurisdiction and powers of High Court, but it came up with some important acts. Okay, so in those important acts we can see some important details regarding detailed provisions of this High Court here. Okay, if you see this constitution, so our Constitution of India, which gave High Court jurisdiction over revenue matters, and constitution also confers some more additional powers to High Court like writ jurisdiction and also power of superintendence and also consultative power here. So if you see here types of jurisdiction that High Court is enjoying, so we have mainly 7 important powers and jurisdictions. So first one is original jurisdiction, second one is writ jurisdiction, third one is appellate jurisdiction, fourth one is supervisory jurisdiction, fifth one is control over subordinate courts, sixth one is court of record, seventh one is power of judicial review. So these are 7 important jurisdictions and powers of High Court. Now let us see one by one in a great detail. So first one is original jurisdiction. So original jurisdiction means court can hear these disputes in first instance. Okay, so in first instance we can directly go to High Court and we can file case there. So this type of jurisdiction is called as original jurisdiction. So how, when, in which cases we can go for filing of cases in High Court? So it mainly includes matters of contempt of court or admiralty, and it also includes some disputes regarding election of members of parliament and state legislature, and also regarding revenue matters or an act ordered or done in revenue collection, and even enforcement of fundamental rights of citizen. And whenever case they are transferred from subordinate court involving interpretation of interpretation of constitution, then in these areas we can directly go to High Court and can file case. So this mainly comes under this original jurisdiction. And if you see 4 important courts, that is Calcutta, Bombay, Madras and Delhi courts, they have original civil jurisdictions in cases of higher value also. So before 1973 we have this Kolkata High Court, Bombay High Court, Madras High Court and Madras High Court. They also have original jurisdiction under this criminal cases also, but this criminal jurisdiction is mainly abolished by Criminal Procedure Code of 1973. So this is about original jurisdiction. And now let us see about writ jurisdiction. So if you're talking about writs, we have commonly 5 writs, right? Habeas corpus, mandamus, certiorari, prohibition and quo warranto. So regarding this writ petition, writ jurisdiction, which article mainly talks about? So it is about Article 226 regarding High Court. Here Supreme Court also have writ jurisdiction. Okay, if you are talking about High Court, that is Article 226 mainly talks about this writ jurisdiction. So this Article 226 of Constitution empowers a High Court to issue writs That includes habeas corpus, mandamus, certiorari, prohibition and quo warranto, mainly for enforcement of fundamental rights of citizens and even other purpose. That means it also includes legal rights. So if you are talking about writ jurisdiction of Supreme Court, it mainly limited to only fundamental rights. But if you are talking about high courts, we can go for writ jurisdiction under Article 226 for fundamental rights and also legal rights. So in this way, writ jurisdiction of High Court, which is wider than compared to that of this Supreme Court. So this is important prelims fact that you should remember. Okay. And if you see this writ jurisdiction of high courts, it is not elusive but it is concurrent. That means whenever fundamental rights of citizens are violated, so aggrieved party, he can approach Supreme Court or High Court. Okay, so because of this we can say this writ jurisdiction of High Court, it is not elusive but concurrent with writ jurisdiction of a Supreme Court under Article 32 of Indian Constitution. If you are talking about writ jurisdiction of Supreme Court, which mainly comes under Article 32. Okay, and writ jurisdiction of High Court mainly comes under Article 226 of Indian Constitution. So we have to remember these articles also, that will be important regarding prelims. Okay, and in this writ jurisdiction you have to know one important case, that is Chandrakumar case of 1997. So in this famous case, Supreme Court ruled that writ jurisdiction of both High Court and Supreme Court, they constitute a part of our basic structure of Constitution. So under this basic structure of Constitution, this writ jurisdiction of both High Court and Supreme Courts, they will come. Okay, so because of this, even through Constitutional Amendment Act, we cannot take away this writ jurisdiction. Okay, so this is important case. Okay, you have to remember this Chandrakumar case 1997, that will be important regarding mains. And next one is appellate jurisdiction. So if you see this appellate jurisdiction, High Court, which is primarily called as Court of Appeal. So as you know, if you draw this pyramidal structure of integrated judicial system, we have Supreme Court at top, we have High Court at middle, and we have subordinate courts. So as we know, this High Court also enjoys this appellate jurisdiction. So appeals will come mainly from the subordinate courts. Okay, so High Court, which is commonly called as Court of Appeal, it mainly hears appeal against judgment of subordinate courts functioning in territorial jurisdiction. So within that state, so there are some subordinate courts, right? So these subordinate courts, mainly the decision from the subordinate courts, that will be appealed to High Court of that state. So because of this, we can say appellate jurisdiction of High Court, which is wider compared to that of the original jurisdiction of High Courts. So in this appellate jurisdiction, we can talk about two important matters. First one is civil matters and second one is criminal matters. So if you're talking about this civil appellate jurisdiction of High Court, so first appeals from these orders and as well as judgment of district courts or additional district courts or subordinate courts, that mainly deals with question of law and facts. So law and facts, that will be deal in first appeals. And if you are talking about the second appeals, so whenever any judgments, orders of district courts or subordinate courts that are coming to High Court, so in this second appeal, so it will deal only with question of law but not fact. So this is again important prelims fact that you should remember. And if you see Kolkata, Bombay, Madras High Courts, they have provision of intra-court appeals. So in this intra-court appeals, if judgment it is given by one judge bench, so if at all any appeal which came again, so these appeals are called as intra-court appeals. So in this intra-court appeals, so if judgment is given by one judge, they will go for setting up of division of bench of the same court. So this type of appellate jurisdiction that is present for this Kolkata, Bombay and Madras High Court. Okay, appeals from decisions of this administrative and other tribunals, they also lie to division bench of the state High Court. Okay, so even in 1997 famous Supreme Court judgment, it also said that tribunals, they are also subjected to writ jurisdictions in High Courts. So whatever decision given by these tribunals, it will not be final. They will also comes under writ jurisdiction of High Courts. And if you are talking about criminal matters here, so criminal appellate jurisdiction of High Court, mainly includes, the first one is appeals from judgments or session courts, and as well as additional sessions courts, and as well as whenever judgments which are mainly come up by the session courts which are mainly dealing with criminal matters, and also some additional session courts that will comes to this high court here. So if at all imprisonment which is more than 7 years, so whenever judgment which is given by the sessions courts or additional session courts, in that cases, if at all imprisonment, if at all judgment regarding sentence of imprisonment of more than 7 years, they will come to this high court. And next one is, it should be noted that here that death sentence awarded by session court or additional sessions court, that should be confirmed by high courts, okay, before executed. So this is about criminal matters. Okay, and next one is supervisory jurisdiction. So High Court has power of superintendence over all courts and tribunals which are functioning in its territorial jurisdiction. Okay, so how many courts which are working, okay, in that state here? For example, if we have subordinate courts which are present here, so these subordinate courts will be supervised over by this high courts of that state. Okay, so it may make some issues, general rules, and it can also prescribe forms for regulating practices and also proceeding them, and as well as it can also prescribe forms in which books, entries and accounts are to be kept in them. So it may also talk about payment procedure, fees of clerks, and as well as offices, legal practitioners. So regarding all these, high courts can provide some advice here. Okay, supervisory jurisdiction is also power of high court. And next one is control over subordinate court. So if you're talking about a subordinate court, we have appellate jurisdiction, and we also have supervisory jurisdiction, and also we have control over the subordinate courts. Okay, so if you see, the first one is, it is consulted by governor in matters of appointment, posting and promotion of district judges, and in appointments persons to judicial service of the state. So in this way, here we have governor will be consulted this high court. And next one is, it deals with matters of posting, promotion, grant of leave, transfer, discipline of members of judicial service in states. And next one is, it can also withdraw a case which is pending in subordinate court if that case involves mainly substantial question of law and it requires mainly interpretation of constitution. So in this way, it can also withdraw that pending case. And next one is, its law is binding on all subordinate courts which are functioning within state here. Okay, so this is about this supervision. And next one is court of record. So as you know, Supreme Court also comes under this court of record. Even High Court have power of court of record. So what is meaning of court of record? In simple way, what are judgment, what are proceedings, what are acts of high courts, they are recorded mainly for perpetual memory and testimony. So this is called a court of record that can be used for further legal references. Okay, and it also have power to punish contempt of court. So if you're talking about contempt of court, we have two contempts, civil contempt and criminal contempt, as per Contempt of Court Act of 1971, right? So we discussed about this civil contempt and as well as criminal contempt very detailedly in our Supreme Court. So if you are talking about civil contempt, that means willful disobedience of order which is given by court, and criminal means whenever any action of person that is scandalizing authority of court or interfering in functioning of court, in that will mainly comes under criminal contempt. So for this contempt of court, power will be given to High Court to punish them. And next one is, it also have power of judicial review. So what is this judicial review? Judicial review means power of High Court to examine constitutionality of legislative enactment and also executive orders from both central and state governments. So if at all state government or central government which came with any law or any act here that is violative of our constitution, then High Court have power to declare that law or that act as illegal, unconstitutional and null and void. Okay, so this is about power of judicial review. Okay, so if you're talking about power of judicial review regarding Supreme Court, Article 13 mainly talks about that, and Article 226 mainly talks about this judicial review of High Court. So if you are talking about this phrase of judicial review, which is nowhere written in our constitution, but Article 13 and Article 226, which mainly explicitly confer this power of judicial review on High Court and as well as Supreme Court. So when this High Court and Supreme Court, they have power of judicial review. Whenever any law or any act which is come up by state government or central government, which infringes fundamental rights which are mainly present in Part 3 of our Indian Constitution. And next one is if it is any outside the competence of authority which has framed and it is dependent to constitutional provisions. So in these three cases, this judicial review power that can be used by High Court and Supreme Court and make that legislation which come up by central government and state government as null and void, unconstitutional, invalid. Okay, so this is about judicial review. So these are some important jurisdictions of High Court that you should remember. And one important difference you have to remember here is advisory jurisdiction, which mainly comes under Article 143, which is exclusive power of Supreme Court, and for High Court there is no provision of advisory jurisdiction. Okay, so this is important thing. And one important difference here is regarding writ jurisdiction. So writ jurisdiction of High Court, which is wider compared to that of Supreme Court. So regarding Supreme Court, under this writ jurisdiction, so it only involves fundamental rights. Regarding this High Court, it includes both fundamental rights and also legal rights. Okay, so these are some important things that you should remember regarding this jurisdiction and powers of High Court. There is nothing much to explain in this topic. Okay, so by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.